very well and good, except we have 3 branches of government. And whatever the Romney administration might propose has to then get through Congress. Senator A, I got to tell you, by the way, you were terrific last night. I think everybody who listened to you was really impressed. Terrific to see somebody like you up there.
Except we're not talking about shoveling snow today. We'll talk more about foreign policy.
Look, when I was in the Reagan administration, some of the biggest battles that we fought were not overseas. They were over the Potomac River, and they were the State Department versus the Defense Department. That the Defense Department said, you know, we need a bigger budget and take it out of the State Department, and the State Department tried to take it out of the Defense Department. And so what happens? We've now had kumbaya, where the Secretary of Defense has said, gee, we really need to have a larger State Department budget. We need more foreign assistance, economic development, USAID, et cetera, et cetera. And the Secretaries of State and Defense really do get along really well in this administration. Now, what happens going forward? We're in tight economic budgetary times. How do you see that difference from Capitol Hill? These guys can propose all they want, but it'll be you who disposes.
Well, thank you so much, Katie, and it's great to be up here for this distinguished panel. And I wanted to follow up on something that Rich said. I think the reason that you see now DOD and State Department coming hand in hand with leaders like General Petraeus, Admiral Mullen, and their successors coming forth and really advocating for the State Department budget is because it's not clear these distinctions between hard and soft power. And the two do go hand in hand when you think about them in terms of what we have in our toolbox to make sure that America is strong and to preserve our role in the world. And so that's why I think going forward that you won't see the types of fights we've seen in the past, regardless of the administration, because the two do work hand in hand. I want to touch on something that I've found that I think is a challenge where we do need leadership, and I've been very proud of Governor Romney on this point. That is, our foreign aid budget is 1% of the budget. But I can tell you that when I go out in a town hall meeting in New Hampshire, if I were to say to that group, when we're talking about the fiscal state of the country, we're not going to give any more money overseas, we've got problems here at home, I guarantee that I would get a standing ovation for that. But we all know that that's penny wise and pound foolish in terms of protecting our own country, that the more we are engaged overseas, particularly in the USAID budget, the things that President Bush did in Africa not only were reflective of our values, but gave us stronger relationships there. And I think that this is a case that leadership has to make. And Governor Romney, I've already seen him on the campaign trail making this very, very important point, not only about American exceptionalism. And as I look going forward, the thing that I know we're not going to spend a lot of time on today, but I want to mention it to every person in this audience, where we need leadership the most right now, is on this issue of sequestration. Because it's not only the Department of Defense, which I've spent a lot of time talking about, not only in New Hampshire, but throughout the country, where our own Secretary of Defense says we'll be shooting ourselves in the head. This 1% budget is going to be devastated as well, and it will result in the withdrawal of the United States from the world to the detriment of our safety. And so this is an issue please keep your eye on. I know all of you are in this room, but I also think this is an issue where the President as Commander-in-Chief has been very absent in terms of his leadership and has not stepped forth and shown the type of leadership that needs to be shown on this very important issue. Because with that type of dramatic cuts in resources, we immediately pull back from places where, for example, go to Africa right now and look at the investment that the Chinese are making in Africa. And also look at the potential that is in Africa, but also look at the potential for the growth of Al-Qaeda in Africa. If we want to absent ourselves from those areas of the world, we will do so to the detriment of the safety of our country and also to the detriment of our values. So I see this as we will be committed to these resources under a Romney administration, and he will be someone who leads on this.
Okay, let me throw this out to Ambassador AYotteRNC. You know, talking